July 8, 2014. A man walks into an airport. He has a passport, a suitcase, a backpack, and a plane ticket home to Germany. Less than 1 hour later, airport security cameras record something that still confuses investigators today. Without warning, he starts running. Not walking, not looking back, running. He rushes through the terminal. Past confused travelers. Out of the building. Across the airport grounds. Then, he climbs over a security fence and disappears into an open field. No one has ever confirmed seeing him again. He leaves behind his luggage, his wallet, his mobile phone, even his passport, everything a person would normally need to leave a country. For more than a decade, millions of people have watched those final moments on CCTV, watching and rewatching, hoping to notice something everyone else missed, because somewhere in those final minutes may be the answer to one simple question. What terrified Lars Mittank? Before his disappearance, Lars Mittank was an ordinary 28-year-old from Germany. He lived in the city of Wilhelmshaven. Friends described him as quiet, friendly, and dependable. He wasn't known for taking unnecessary risks. He worked hard, stayed close with his family, and by every account, he was looking forward to a relaxing summer holiday with friends. In late June of 2014, Lars and 5 friends traveled to Golden Sands, one of Bulgaria's most popular seaside resorts. Located along the Black Sea coast, Golden Sands attracts thousands of tourists every summer. The beaches are beautiful, the nightlife is lively, and for many Europeans, it's an affordable destination for a week of sun, food, and celebration. For the first few days, that's exactly what the trip was. They relaxed by the beach, visited local restaurants, spent evenings enjoying the nightlife, took photographs, made memories. Nothing suggested that this holiday would soon become an international mystery. Near the end of the vacation, something happened. The exact details remain unclear even today. According to reports, Lars became involved in an argument connected to football supporters. Some accounts suggest the disagreement involved fans of rival German football clubs. Later, Lars told his friends that after separating from them, he had been confronted and assaulted by several men. Exactly who they were, or why the confrontation escalated, has never been fully established. When Lars returned, his friends immediately noticed something was wrong. He was in pain. He complained about his ear. And he wasn't acting like himself. Doctors later diagnosed him with a ruptured eardrum, because changes in cabin pressure during a flight could make the injury significantly worse. They advised him not to fly home with the rest of the group. Instead, they prescribed medication, recommended several days of rest, and suggested he return once he had recovered enough to travel safely. It wasn't the news Lars wanted to hear. His friends offered to stay behind with him, but Lars insisted they shouldn't. He told them he would be fine. He would rest, visit another doctor, catch the next available flight, and meet them back in Germany a few days later. It sounded like a simple plan. One small delay, nothing more. No one realized they were saying goodbye for the last time. After his friends flew back to Germany, Lars checked into a small hotel near Varna Airport. His goal was straightforward: rest, take his medication, receive medical clearance, then fly home. But almost immediately, his behavior began to change. He phoned his mother. At first, the conversation seemed ordinary. Then, his tone shifted. He sounded frightened, distracted, almost as if someone was nearby. According to his mother, Lars claimed that people were trying to rob him. He believed someone was following him. He even asked her to cancel his bank cards. His fear sounded genuine. Whatever he believed was happening, it felt very real to him. The following morning, he called again. This time, he sounded even more distressed. He repeated that people were watching him, that he didn't feel safe. His mother tried to reassure him. She urged him to stay calm, to visit the airport doctor, and to come home as soon as possible. Lars agreed. He gathered his belongings, took a taxi to Varna Airport, walked inside, checked in for his flight. Everything appeared normal, at least for a little while, because in less than an hour, the airport's security cameras would capture footage that would be viewed by millions around the world. And the mystery was only beginning. It was the morning of July 8th, 2014. After checking out of his hotel, Lars arrived at Varna Airport. On the surface, everything appeared routine. He carried his backpack, he had his luggage, he checked in for his flight. To everyone around him, he looked like any other passenger preparing to go home. But inside, something seemed deeply wrong. His mother would later say that during their phone calls, Lars sounded convinced someone was following him. Whether that fear was based on a real threat or something only he believed remains one of the biggest questions in this entire case. Before boarding, Lars visited the airport's medical office. He still needed to be examined before flying with his ear injury. The doctor later described him as nervous, but cooperative. She began the examination, asked him routine questions. Everything seemed normal. For a few minutes, nothing appeared unusual. Then, someone entered the room. Not a police officer, not airport security, just a construction worker. He had entered to ask the doctor something unrelated. It should have been an ordinary interruption, but according to later accounts, the moment Lars saw the man, everything changed. His expression changed instantly. He became visibly alarmed. He stood up, looked toward the doorway, then looked back at the doctor, as if he had suddenly recognized something. Or someone. Exactly what went through his mind remains unknown. Seconds later, Lars did something no one expected. He left the examination room, quickly. The doctor called after him, but he didn't stop. According to reports, he shouted words that have been repeated ever since. "I don't want to die here." Whether those were his exact words, or a close recollection, has been discussed over the years. But witnesses agreed on one thing. Lars was terrified. Not angry, not confused, terrified. Whatever he believed was happening, it was powerful enough to make him abandon everything. Security cameras followed his every move. Frame by frame, Lars rushed through the airport terminal. His pace became faster. Passengers turned to look. No one tried to stop him, because at first, it simply looked like someone who was late for a flight. But this wasn't someone trying to catch a plane. He wasn't running toward the departure gates. He was running away. Away from the airport. Away from the terminal. Away from everyone around him. He burst through the main exit. Ran across the parking area, never looking back, never slowing down. Then, he reached the airport perimeter. A tall wire fence separated the airport from an open field beyond. Most people would stop, look for a gate, call for help. Lars didn't. He climbed the fence, dropped to the other side, landed in the grass, and immediately continued running. Across the field, toward a wooded area, the cameras followed him, for as long as they could. Then, he disappeared from view, forever. When airport staff searched the area, they found something strange. Lars had left behind nearly everything. His suitcase, his wallet, his mobile phone, his passport, his identification, his luggage, the very things someone would need to travel, or to disappear intentionally. If he had planned to vanish, why leave behind the essentials? If he believed someone was chasing him, who was it? And why did nobody else appear to notice any threat? These questions would soon fuel years of speculation. But one fact remained undeniable. The last confirmed sighting of Lars Mittank was captured on airport security cameras, running into an empty field, never to be seen again. The mystery had only just begun. Within minutes of Lars disappearing, airport staff alerted the authorities. Police responded quickly. Search teams were sent into the fields surrounding Varna Airport. The area wasn't enormous. There were open meadows, patches of woodland, abandoned buildings, and farmland. If Lars had simply continued running, many believed he should have been found. Search dogs were brought in. Officers searched nearby roads. Helicopters scanned the surrounding countryside. But the search produced almost nothing. No backpack, no clothing, no footprints that led to an answer. No confirmed trace of Lars Mittank. It was as though he had simply disappeared. As news spread across Germany, his family refused to give up hope. His mother, Sandra, traveled to Bulgaria. She spoke with investigators. She retraced Lars's final known movements. She even hired a private investigator to continue searching long after the official search had slowed down. Years passed, but her determination never faded. Then came the reported sightings. From time to time, people claimed they had seen Lars, a hitchhiker, a homeless man, someone walking along a highway. Each report sparked hope. Each one was investigated, and each one ultimately led nowhere. Perhaps the most publicized claim came from Brazil, where some believed a hospitalized identified man resembled Lars. The resemblance generated headlines around the world, but investigators later confirmed it was someone else entirely. Another lead, another dead end. With no physical evidence, attention gradually shifted toward the question everyone was asking: why did Lars run? One possibility centers on the injury he suffered just days earlier. Doctors confirmed he had a ruptured eardrum after the reported altercation. Some have wondered whether he also suffered an undiagnosed concussion or another head injury. Medical experts have noted that certain head injuries can affect judgment, cause confusion, or trigger unusual behavior. But no medical examination ever confirmed that this happened to Lars. So while the theory is possible, it remains only that, a theory. Another theory focuses on his apparent fear. In the hours before he disappeared, Lars repeatedly told his mother that people were following him, that someone wanted to harm him. Those calls are well documented. The mystery is whether those fears reflected a genuine threat or a perception that no one else could see. To this day, investigators have never identified anyone who has been confirmed to be pursuing Lars that morning. Some discussions have also centered on the medication prescribed after his injury. One possibility raised over the years was that a reaction to medication contributed to his behavior. However, there is an important detail that is often overlooked. According to the airport doctor, Lars had not actually taken the prescribed antibiotics. If that account is correct, the medication itself could not explain what happened. It's a reminder that many details repeated online are still disputed, and simple explanations often fall apart under closer examination. Others have suggested an undiagnosed mental health crisis. His family has consistently said that Lars had no known history of mental illness. Even so, medical professionals point out that an acute psychological episode can sometimes occur unexpectedly, particularly during periods of intense stress. There is no evidence confirming that this is what happened, but investigators have never been able to rule it out completely. Then there is the theory of foul play. Could someone really have been following Lars? Did he run because he recognized a face? Did something happen after he disappeared beyond the airport fence? There is currently no publicly available evidence proving that another person harmed Lars after he left the airport. Yet, because he vanished so completely, many people continue to wonder if someone else was involved. More than 11 years have now passed. The CCTV footage has been viewed millions of times across the world. It has earned Lars Mittank an unfortunate distinction. He is often described as the most famous missing person on YouTube. But despite the worldwide attention, the central mystery has never changed. A healthy young man, arrived at an airport ready to fly home. Less than an hour later, he was sprinting across an open field, apparently terrified of something only he could see. And then, nothing. No confirmed sightings. No answers. No closure. Somewhere beyond that airport fence, the story of Lars Mittank continues. The only question that remains is whether anyone will ever discover how it ends.